problem. I'm Justin Stewart, and today I'll be reviewing Alone in the Dark.
Alone in the Dark is a 1992 video game from French producer Infogrames. Like Another World, it's one of the first games to use polygonal graphics. Also, it's considered by many to be one of the first survival horror games. The game is available for DOS and for the 3DO, and it is loosely connected to Infogrames' other adventure games, Shadow of the Comet and Prisoner of Ice, although you don't have to play those games to understand or enjoy this one.
What do you mean they cut the power? How could they cut the power, man? They're animals. There we go. Please don't confuse this game for the mediocre remake Alone in the Dark: The New Nightmare. And please don't confuse it for the widely critically panned and buggy as all heck Alone in the Dark game on the Xbox 360 and other newer systems. You have found a gun. Will you take it? Oh, and please, whatever you do, don't confuse this with Alone in the Dark, the movie by Uwe Boll, or its direct-to-DVD sequel. I like to keep this handy for close encounters. In Alone in the Dark, you explore the home of the late Jeremy Hartwood as either his niece Emily Hartwood or the private eye Edward Carnby. Jeremy committed suicide under mysterious circumstances, and it's up to the player to discover what evil lurks in the mansion, named Derceto by the original owner, and how that evil can be stopped. The story is heavily influenced by the works of one of my favorite authors, H.P. Lovecraft, the guy who came up with Cthulhu and the Necronomicon and other famous horror icons, not to mention pretty much the entire subgenre of cosmic horror. Most of the plot is detailed in books, journal entries, and other pieces of writing scattered about the mansion. Beware, as 2 of the books you come across are potentially dangerous. I guess there are things that mankind simply wasn't meant to know. I happen to have a tome of Eldritch lore right here, actually. Since I'm out of ammo, I figured I might as well see if there's a spell that'll help against these darn werewolves. Let's see what we've got here. That is not dead, which can eternal lie. Black Seas of Infinity. Every single missile hit the target. IDK my BFF Jill. All your base are belong to... Oh, okay, there we go. Abra Capotes! Did that do anything? Let me go check. There are basically 2 aspects to the gameplay. I'll talk about combat first. To fight with a melee weapon, or if you don't have one, to engage in good old-fashioned fisticuffs, select attack or equip a weapon on the pause menu, and when your enemy approaches, hold down the action key, which is spacebar on the PC version. While holding the action key, use the arrow keys to perform different attacks. I usually spam whatever attack seems to have the longest reach, but you can experiment and find a fighting style you like. If you're using a projectile weapon, it works the same way, except that instead of using the arrow keys to do different attacks, you use the left and right arrows to aim and the up arrow to shoot. Ammo is fairly scarce in this game, but you can generally fall back on a melee weapon and still kick monster butt. Also, you can throw almost any item, which can hurt some enemies from a distance. It's not a tactic I generally use, but it can be amusing. Throwing is mostly useful for solving certain puzzles and for discarding items when you're too lazy to try and find good places to set them down. By the way, is it just me, or do these characters have really good pitching arms? As fun as combat is in Alone in the Dark, it is a bit stiff by today's standards. However, most of the time you won't be fighting, you'll be exploring and solving puzzles, which are 2 things that I think Alone in the Dark handles pretty well. The combat encounters in the first game are pretty few and far between, so you shouldn't really get sick of them. I'm gonna go check and see if I got rid of the werewolves. Hold on. Well, the good news is the werewolves are gone. The bad news is they've been replaced with zombie horror. The Make sure you use your menu commands. If you want to search for items, select Open/Search and check out things by walking up to them and holding down spacebar. If you pick up some kind of container, try opening it or breaking it open. Make sure you discard the empty container after you get what's inside, since you can only hold about 25 items or so. Well, here's a container. Maybe there's something in it that'll help against the zombies. Hold on. Ah, jeez. Oh, man. Looks like I accidentally opened up a can of whoop-ass. I don't want to spoil too many of the puzzles, but there are a few cheap, dirty tricks you should watch out for, and I'll go ahead and let you know about those. First of all, when you can get into the basement, make sure you remove the wedge from underneath one of the barrels against the wall. This will allow the barrels to roll away from a small hole through which you can escape from the cave system at the end of the game. If you don't unblock this hole, you might not be able to escape from the mansion. Second, the very beginning of the game is probably one of the most challenging parts. If you're not quick, a werewolf and a zombie will attack you. Here's a hint, you can push furniture. While you're in the attic, search the side of the piano for a little note. Finally, some of your items won't work if they get wet. Rifle shells and matches will become unusable, but revolver bullets and lighters will still work. Make sure to relight your lamp if you need to after getting it wet. It's really not a big deal, but you should be aware of it. I'm sure you're all wondering if this game is actually scary. Well, that's a matter of opinion, but for the most part I'd say no. The primitive character models make the game look rather silly, and there aren't a lot of jump scares, nor is there anything very disturbing on the same level as, say, the Silent Hill series. There are, however, a few things that might scare you. Try touching one of the ghosts, for example, but save your game first. Even better, try opening the front door before freeing the mansion from its curse.
Thank you, officer.
That's a very good question. What system should you get it for? Well, I don't have a 3DO, and most people don't have a 3DO, so it's pretty much just the PC version that's available. Now you can get it on floppy disk or CD-ROM. The only difference I know about is that the CD version has full voice acting. It's really terrible voice acting, but hey, if you like making fun of bad acting, it could be considered an improvement. Also, most people don't have a floppy drive, so I guess CD wins through process of elimination. Alright, well, I found a spell in here that summons a werewolf and binds it to my will. Quiet, you! I also found some information about the zombies in here. It turns out this kind of zombie is afraid of poor people. So, assuming that the werewolves don't catch all of them, I'll probably be okay anyway. Now for my escape. Yes! I made it! I'm Justin Stewart, and I'll see you next time. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go call the dog catcher. I think the biting spell might have been... Say action! Black Seas of Infinity, that is not dead which can eternal lie, Soylent Green is people, Ceiling Cat is watching you abominate, and definitely please don't confuse it with the buggy and critically plant blah 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 animals! Crap! Does whatever a spider can. Boobop, a shoobop, a wop. Hot damn. Yeah! You're not turning me out tonight, Scarlet. Search your feelings, you know it to be true. I don't know what's, bop, shit.